So what are some of the things that prevented me from playing at the pro level? Now, the reason I want to make this video is essentially so you can avoid the same pitfalls that I fell into, that if I could go back and my goal was to become a pro, I would do differently. And you can learn essentially from my mistakes, so you're giving yourself an even better opportunity of making it to that level if that is what you want. So that's coming up next. Real quick, guys, I want to thank the sponsors of this video, the amino company that make these incredible supplements like this one called Perform that I have been using for athletes. What's cool about these supplements is they were originally made for astronauts, but because they give so many essential amino acids that are really good for athletes as well, they made them for athletes. And one of the things I absolutely love about their products is they are all backed by science. They have the clinical trials to back up what they are talking about, and you can actually learn more about that, about the evidence they have for this, why it works, how you can get your own, link down below. In fact, they're even throwing in a 30% discount for anyone using the link down below from my audience. So go check it out, learn more about this incredible product, and I hope to see that you're taking it as well in the near future. Hi there, welcome to Simplysoccer. My name is Dave. If you are new here, where I'm creating videos every single week to help you improve your game and stand out on the pitch. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you get my free ebook, Game Changer, which you can download down below in the description. It's gonna give you a whole bunch of different drills, tips, techniques, and other things that are gonna help your game. Now, let's go into the first thing that prevented me, that stopped me from making it to the pro level, or what I chose to do, I should say, that really didn't serve me on that journey. Let's go. Now, number 5, because we're going in reverse order, is one of the biggest, and it was having an inflated ego. You know, when I was younger, when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, I really thought that I was just so good that I was basically entitled to become a pro, get to higher levels, or whatever else it was. Now, the reason I felt like this is because since a very young age, I was told I'm very talented at football. And this is kind of a lesson to people who are telling kids that they're just naturally talented, you just have a gift for this thing. Sometimes this can actually be counterproductive, because in my case, it caused me to have a bit of an ego about it and probably not do some of the things I should have done, because I really felt like, oh, I'm already basically there, you know, it's only a matter of time before I become a pro. And it really caused me to suffer because I didn't listen to coaches sometimes. I didn't listen to the people I should have been listening to that would have helped me to improve my game. Now, I was playing all the time because I loved playing football. I mean, I loved the game, so I was getting plenty of touches on the ball and I was becoming a better player. But I could have become even better if I was more coachable, if I just didn't have that inflated ego that caused me not to learn as much as I did. And I really could have learned so much more and probably progressed a lot quicker and a lot more if I had. So that's the first one I want to give you, is don't go in with a big ego. You know, you don't know it all. Even the best professional players are still learning from coaches, are still very coachable. You know, the best players, in fact, tend to be some of the most coachable players. They don't think they know it all. They don't think they know more than everyone else. Of course, they will know more than a lot, but they will still pick and choose the people they learn from, and they will learn from them. So don't have a big ego about yourself as a player. You can always get better. You're not entitled to anything. You have to earn it. In fact, if that resonates, put in the comments, I am working hard every single day to improve my game. That's really what it's all about, improving your game each and every day, being open to learning, being open to growth. Now let's get into number 4. Number 4 was another big one for me, and it wasn't taking care of my body enough. You know, I didn't really do my due diligence to go out there and research the things I needed to research in order to take care of my body more. You know, when you're young, you kind of don't have as many injuries typically. You don't have as many, you know, you can get away with eating certain things and not training in certain ways. But as you get older, you start to learn you can't get away with this as much. And when I was younger, I didn't develop the habits of looking after my body that would serve me later on. You know, I was playing football all the time. I was doing football training, playing with the ball, but I wasn't doing the strength work I needed to be doing, the flexibility, mobility, and recovery work. I wasn't eating in the way that I should be eating. You know, I really wasn't taking care of my body in the way that I should. You know, luckily my knowledge of this is far greater today, and if I could take what I know now and give it to, say, like a 12-year-old version of myself, I totally would. And so for all of you who are looking to grow as players, who are looking to really help themselves get to a higher level, you need to take care of your body. You know, in this day and age, you have things like I already mentioned, Perform from the amino company, that can help you in so many different ways. You can eat cleaner. You can really look up the strength work, flexibility, mobility, fitness drills, all this different stuff that you can do. And that's something I didn't do enough when I was a younger player. Hey, if you're getting some value out of this video or it's resonating with you so far, please hit that like button and we'll move on to number 3. Now, number 3 is, and I mention this all the time, and this is why I mention it all the time, but I did not develop the mental side of the game enough. There's a reason I reiterate developing the mental side of the game all of the time on this channel. And the main reason is one, because it's true, you really need to do it, but because I fell into the trap of not doing this. This held me back so much. And I can look back and really look at the difference between when I was playing with confidence and when I wasn't. And it's a massive difference. So many players are held back because they lack the mental attributes, because they lack the grit and determination that you need. They lack the persistence, they lack the confidence. And these are all things that can be developed. And if you're not developing these things, you will be holding yourself back as a player. And it's gonna be very hard to get to a pro level at any level in the pro game, even semi-pro, any really good level of football. It's gonna be very difficult to get there if you're not developing your mental attributes. You need to be a confident player to really fulfill your potential, or to get as close or get there in my eyes. You really need to develop things like persistence, determination, grit, and things of that nature. And if you don't, it will hold you back. And it's something I do wish I developed a little more when I was younger. Number 2 is I did not train deliberately enough. Many of you may know that there is a certain type of training called deliberate training. This is a very focused style of training that usually yields more results. Now, I wasn't aware of this style of training when I was younger, and so I would definitely go back and tell a younger version of myself, hey, look, there's something called deliberate training. Look it up, get familiar with it, and start training in this manner, because it's going to help you progress much more. Now, I was practicing every single day. I had a ball at my feet every single day. I was going to a wall, kicking against it. I had team practices, so I was still getting really good as a player. I still was a very good player, but I could have gotten even better if I had really followed deliberate training methods. If I had gotten myself into a training program, which there may have been some available back then. You know, there's so many now because of the internet and how it's exploded and all of the other things. Back then, there probably was something, but even if I had taken things I had learned in certain camps or with my coaches, or even gone to my coach and been like, hey, can you help me create a very, very deliberate training plan for me so I can really focus on these things? What should I improve? You know, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure you are training deliberately. You're not just going through the motions. You're not just kicking a ball around and thinking that's going to do it. You want to be training in a way where you're actually looking at your game, looking at what you need to improve. You're working on the fundamentals. You're doing it at game pace in game scenarios. You know, if you don't already have your own training program, you need to get one, get into one, buy one, create one yourself if you know how, get a coach, whatever you need to do if you want to get to that high level, simply because it is going to pay off big time if you follow a deliberate plan and you train deliberately. It is something that definitely held me back from becoming even better, and something, again, I would go back and tell a 12-year-old version of myself and be like, hey, you need to be training deliberately. So now we're on to number 1, and there are plenty of other things I can mention that are going to help you, and I have other videos that give you other habits that you can develop to help you get to the level you want to get to. But number 1 was not getting on a better team earlier. One of the best ways to improve your game is to play with and against better players. Now, I always was playing, I was training individually, like I said, I was obsessed with the game, so I was improving, but I did not always play on teams that matched my level or was even a little bit better than my level until I was about 15 or 16 years old. For the most part before that, except for a small period when I was like 7 or 8, I was playing on teams where I was easily the best or one of the best players on my team and the league, and that's not to be big-headed, it was just I wasn't playing at the level I could. Now, there's other reasons for that. You know, again, I couldn't get to some of these other teams and whatnot, but I should have been a little more insistent on trying out for these other teams, getting on these better teams. And again, if I can go back to a 12-year-old version of me, or even like a 10-year-old version of me, I would be like, look, get on the best possible team you can in the area, play against better players. Yeah, it's gonna be harder. You're gonna be asked to improve more and more, but it's gonna benefit you the most. And when I joined that team, at I believe 15 or 16, that was state ranked, you know, was winning tournaments against nationally ranked teams and other state ranked teams, and was basically all playing against other players who were either gonna go on to play in college at some level, some would go on to play pro. Like, we were playing against those type of players. I improved so drastically when I started playing with this team, because every training session was against these kinds of players. Every time we played another team, it was against these kinds of players. You are suddenly playing the best players in your area, in your state, from other states, and it is just such a different level of football when you're doing that. And so you want to make sure you're getting on the best possible team you can get on. Now, you obviously have to be good enough to play on one of these teams, but as you improve, make sure you're looking for teams where you're either matching the level or maybe even need to progress yourself a little to be able to play on those teams, because you will improve so much when you are practicing with really good players and you're playing against really good players. And that is one thing that definitely prevented me from getting better than I could have been. All right, everyone. So those are some of the choices, some of the habits, some of the things that really prevented me from getting to that place. Now, again, these are choices I made. You know, these are not to be used as excuses. It's simply, I decided these things, or I didn't become aware of these things when I should have, and I could have done things differently and gotten a different result, but that's not what happened, right? And so if you are someone who aims to get to a higher level, a pro level, these are some things you're going to want to think about. These are some things you're going to want to change and really start applying the opposite of what I went over. Essentially, I gave you some good things to do as well if you want to get to that level. You know, less than 1% of players get to the pro level at any level, lowest level of pro or any other. It's less than 1%. It's actually smaller than 1% of all footballers. So if you want to be in that less than 1% of players who actually get to that level, you got to be willing to do what most players are not. So thank you once again for tuning into this video, and I'll see you in the next one.